Welcome, everyone. This is a public hearing of the City of Middletown Board of Estimate. Would the clerk please read the notice of public hearing?
City of Middletown, notice of public hearing on the proposed 2018 city general water and sewer budgets. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Estimate and Apportionment of the City of Middletown will hold a public hearing on the proposed 2018 city general water sewer budgets on Monday, November 6th at 6 p.m. in the Common Council Chambers, second floor, City Hall, 16 James Street, Middletown, New York. Said budget is available for inspection at the office of the City Clerk of the Common Council, and this is by the order of the Board of Estimate. This was published in the Times Herald Record on 10/30 and 10/31 and posted on the city website.
Okay, you declare the public hearing open. Why don't we begin? Don, would you want to do a presentation, an overview of the appropriations and well, all categories of the 2018 budget?
Sure. We've got a few slides up here that'll take you through the kind of a summary of the budget. And the first page that's up there now are the major expense categories. 2018, the general fund budget is $39,830,000, and last year it was $39,350,000. It's up about $1.5 million, and you can do the math, but all of it's in $1 million of it is in the employee benefits area, where we don't have much control. The insurance keeps going up, and that's part of the problem. But in any event, those are the categories year over year. Second page is a breakdown, and you can see a breakdown of employee benefits. You can see their employee benefits last year were 34% of the budget. This year they're 35.1%, and then you can see the comparison between both sides. Workers' comp is down slightly due to an effort that's underway. All other items are up quite a bit.
Well, overall, the the employee benefits is up over $900,000, or around $900,000, right?
Right.
Over $900,000.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, next one. In the last slide are the major revenue areas. The property tax rate, it went up 2.24%. However, it's within the tax cap, and there's a little cushion after that. It went up $1.83 a thousand. The estimated average house, it'll go up $55. Water and sewer rents went up 1.74%, or 28 cents per thousand gallon. And the budget is balanced without taking any money out of other funds, general fund or debt service funds. It's relying on the income we projected. And the last slide, John. The last slide is a picture, is a total of our tax levy compared to the tax cap, and we're under it by $2,500. Sometimes the assessed value changes, and I didn't want to have a mistake for a few $100s and not be under the total number. So there's a cushion of $2,500. By the way, that'll be available next year when we do it.
And it's noted by being under the tax cap, once again, that makes all city residents eligible for the state refund. Is that in place again this year?
Joe, I'm not sure whether that's continuing or not. I heard that it wasn't, but I thought it was. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But whatever it is, we've complied.
We've complied,
If it's
okay.
in place, it won't not happen because of us.
Is this the third or fourth year in a row for under the tax cap? Four. Okay, anyone from the public that would like to be heard? Any members of the Common Council? You'll have time to review and go through the budget as we move through the committee process.
Yeah, right. This budget was approved by the Board of Estimate, and it'll reach the Common Council on the 22nd.
22nd of September. I mean of November.
Yes.
September, geez. Jerry, go ahead.
Hi, Jerry Kleiner. I'll say the same thing I said last year. This is the budget public hearing where people can come out and comment on the budget and air their grievances or give us their suggestions or anything they have. And the lack of people doing that, I think, is an affirmation of the budget process. I think it's a good budget. It's a lot of hard work. And I think it's a good sign that you don't have people here objecting in any form. So, thank you.
Well, and we did our best to keep the process open. All the several meetings, all public meetings, documents have been posted online, correct, John? The budget and for review. And there's still opportunity for people to participate too before the council adopts the final budget. The Common Council cannot increase the budget, but they can shift money around. But so there is more time for anyone that's watching on TV now that you have input into the budget process. Mr. Massey?
Yes, it's the 21st, not the 22nd. It's a Tuesday night, 2 weeks from tomorrow. And at, John, is it 7:30? 7:30, I have a Finance Committee meeting in which we will be discussing the budget before the vote on, later on that evening. So anyone that wants to attend that on the 21st, Tuesday night, 7:30, here in the council chambers. Thank you.
Okay. Hearing no other public comment or no comment from the council members, I would declare the public hearing closed. Good evening, everyone. This is a special meeting of the Board of Estimate and Common Council. And at this meeting, we will have a brief presentation by Chief Awanchu, our introduction of the company Nixle. Before we do, I want to thank Alderman Kleiner for his work for the past few months regarding this issue as we try to bring a reverse 911 system to Middletown. And so, Chief, why don't you take it from here and introduce and give a brief background, if you like, on the process.
Absolutely. Good evening. As the mayor said, tonight we'll be giving you a presentation from Nixle. It's a California-based company. We're going to have their sales director with us tonight, joining us remotely, Paul Zach. Nixle is, as the mayor said, a reverse 911 system that has many more features. It's a connection to our community. It gives us the ability to control what type of information we want to put out to our community. It can be used on the emergency services level as well as just general information to the community. Some of the features that it does have are emergency alerts that could be used for things such as weather conditions, natural disasters, or something more serious as an active shooter or some type of crisis situation. On the community engagement side, we could use it to help locate people, traffic alerts, road closures, or just public events. I did go through the demo with Nixle a couple weeks ago. I think the features that it has and that are available to us are going to be a huge asset to the city. It also merges with social media, so it allows us to put one message out that hits multiple avenues of communication. And it's also designed that it could have multiple users, so maybe we could use it as a police department, the fire department could use it, Parks and Recs could use it, Public Works can utilize the same program. As you'll see tonight, there's a tremendous amount of features that it has. It has also on the police end the ability to send anonymous messages to the police department with photos, which are a great tool for us to help address concerns in the community. And I think without further ado, I think the Director of Sales, Paul Zach, will be able to further explain the program. And he does have a short presentation, probably about 20 to 30 minutes, and then he has an opportunity for question and answer for anyone that has concerns or thoughts or ideas pertaining to the program itself.
Okay, Alderman Kleiner, since you want to give anything an update on what your work was on this, or the background?
Well, we wanted to look at a 911, reverse 911 notification system, and there were a couple platforms we were presented with, but Chief Bethencourt was familiar with Nixle, the police department had been using it, and he strongly recommended that we stay with that, so that when we left, Chief Wansu's been pursuing it with the company, so I will learn along with you as we watch the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Paul, are you still with us?
I am. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, great. I'll let you know that I could barely hear everybody in the room, so if there are any interruptions or questions that you may have, I ask that whoever's speaking kind of, go ahead and yell at the microphone or maybe get a little bit closer, and that might help. So you guys are a little bit faint, and I could catch probably every other word. But anyway, since I'll be doing most of the talking, it shouldn't be too much of a big deal. So with that said, good evening, Middletown. I hope everyone is doing well. It's a pleasure to speak with you today. My name is Paul Zach. I am the sales director here at Nixle, presenting to you today. Lauren Hoover is not able to join today. Had a little bit of an accident. She's usually the primary point of contact who works for me for all things New York. So she asked me to send you her apologies for not being able to attend. So I'm going to go ahead and present you Nixle today, 20-30 minutes. It's going to be kind of two parts. One is going to be a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation to kind of give you a little bit of an overview of Nixle. The second part is going to be an interactive demonstration. So that means I need everyone in the room to sort of play along with me, to kind of me representing the agency and all of you representing the residents of Middletown, and kind of show you a little bit more how Nixle will work in kind of an interactive environment. But that'll be the second half. For now, I just wanted to kind of tell you a little bit about Nixle. Nixle, let me start here about Nixle. It was a company that started in 2007, and it was first based in New Jersey and then moved to California, San Francisco specifically, and it was purchased by Everbridge in 2014, for a multitude of reasons. Everbridge is a much bigger company that plays in the same space, but they saw that Nixle had some very interesting technologies that nobody else has done or has done since, and they wanted to incorporate that into their product portfolio. We have offices in San Francisco, where I'm currently located, also in Pasadena. Burlington, Massachusetts is now our headquarters, as well as Michigan. We have Nixle itself, not Everbridge, just Nixle has over 3,000 agencies and corporate customers nationwide. So this is not a startup technology, if you will, which is something you want to be a little bit cognizant of if you're shopping for emergency notification systems. There's a lot of vendors on the space that are still very precarious in their early incubator stage of development. Nixle, again, 3,000 agencies owned by Everbridge, which is the predominant mass notification company in the world. Nixle's primarily used by both PD and emergency management. I'd say about 45% of our customers are law enforcement, 45% emergency management, so that's a nice mix. The other 10% is a mix of fire, public, Parks and Rec, Department of Public Works, administration. Nixle is a little bit unique in that it is a community engagement platform in addition to an emergency management platform. And that was the genesis of Nixle. Not just to be an emergency management platform that's used once a year in case of something like, Hurricane Sandy or some sort of active shooter, but it's meant to be used on a more frequent basis. It could be a daily, weekly, monthly basis in order to interact with your community so that your community starts to understand that the public safety agencies of the municipality, the PD, the city administration, the fire department, so on and so forth, are providing a steady stream of helpful information to the residents to help keep them safe and informed about what's going on in the community and outside of the community. Some of the highlights for Nixle, which I'll be going into, one is ease of use. That is probably the number one reason why folks utilize Nixle, is because it is just a very simple system to use, not only for the agency, but also for the residents. We also have a unique text to opt-in feature. We have keywords in Google, all of which I'll touch on in one way or another during this presentation. And as far as citizens who have opted in to this very unique text to opt-in capability, we have over 8 million residents across the country that have opted in with their zip code to 888-777, and I'll get into that here in just a moment. There's a couple of things that everyone always asks when us as vendors, when they're looking for a mass notification system such as Nixle. And those questions come in a lot of different ways, but ultimately they get around these 4 different topics. I want something that's easy to use, as I just kind of mentioned a moment ago. I want something that reaches as many people as possible, because when you have something important to say, such as important announcements about a festival or active shooter or a hurricane or weather alerts. You want to make sure that obviously as much people are reached as possible as well. You want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth. You also want something that is trusted and reliable. And basically nobody really uses those words, but what they do say typically after a major event is, you know what? I need something that works when something serious is going on and everybody in my area is using a mass notification system and clogging the telecom communication paths. When the worst is happening, you want to make sure that your system is at the forefront of making sure that it gets its messages to your residents versus being clogged up in the logjam of communication. I also want a system to evolve with my agency and my residents. And again, nobody really uses that particular terminology. What they're really saying is, in 2 years, I don't want to have to be looking for another vendor because you guys have fallen behind the latest and greatest. I want somebody that's going to keep up with the latest, so I don't need to keep searching for a new tool every 2, 3, 4 years. Just a moment.
Thought we lost you.
Sorry, small little technical glitch here. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Apologies. Next, I want to tell you a little bit about a story, something that's happened here recently, actually in California. It's the other coast, but it's still very, very relevant. As you guys probably know, in the past month, we've had some massive events going on, Northern California wildfires. In particular, Sonoma County is the county that got hit the worst. County population is about 500,000. The number of people that were opted in to this particular county for notifications beforehand was about 20,000. The county didn't use Nixle a whole lot, so that kind of explains why only about 5% of the county was opted in. But after the first 4 days of the wildfire, the number of opt-ins jumped to 270,000, over 50% of the county. And the reason is not so much just because everyone was looking to know when to evacuate and when to get out of the county. It was because that not only was there evacuation orders, but there's a lot of subsequent information that needs to be communicated to residents. Whether you're talking about a hurricane or a firestorm or an active shooter, it's not only that initial event. When we talk about reverse 911 or robo-dialing, emergency management, we sometimes focus on that initial notification that's delivered to the household via landline with a voice recording. A voice recording that tells the resident there's a fire and they need to get out. But when you're already out of the house, when you're already driving away from the fire, there's lots of additional information that folks need, because folks these days are always on the run. They're always mobile, whether it's a fire or whether it's a mother looking to pick up their son or daughter from school. Everybody's always on the move, and they need that sort of additional information as to what's going on. And this is how Nixle was extraordinarily powerful during the NorCal fires, is that the municipalities were able to provide a wide variety of notifications to the residents throughout the 9 days of this wildfire that lasted over a week. The initial evacuation order, it was part of it, but also where are the evacuation routes, where are the shelters, what hospitals are available, what food sources are available, what's the list of missing persons so far, any press briefings, boil water, curfews, the legality of reentry against the public safety recommendations, cleanup instructions after the fires, and satellite images of where the fires had hit. All these were messages that were sent out during the course of the 9 days, and actually even today messages are still being sent out about the sort of the post-fire issues. And again, people are are mobile and they need notifications, and using landlines and voice capabilities is only one mechanism to get that information to the individuals. to this day, afterwards, the 4 counties that were hit by the fires, we have 64% of the county opted in with Sonoma, 83 in Lake County, 95% in Napa County, and 29% in Mendocino County. Here is just, in the interest of time, I won't read all of these, but here are just some of the quotes that were communicated to Nixle from a lot of the residents. So thankful for these updates. I'm in San Diego, and my mother lives there in Petaluma alone. So this individual is able to get notifications even though they're not in that particular area, just simply by spending 10 seconds to opt into Nixle. Thank you, Everbridge Nixle is a godsend. Thank you for making this Everbridge Nixle alert bilingual. I hope you will continue to do so. So a lot of good feedback from the residents of that tragedy. Now, this is where I really want to kind of exclaim how Nixle is different from a lot of the other vendors in the space. So getting a resident into a system is sometimes one of the biggest challenges for a public safety organization. And some of the traditional ways is to upload an E911 or MSAG, there's lots of different names for it, the data into the system. And that's basically everyone's landline, their phone number, their landline phone number, and their physical address. Where do they live? I live at 123 Broadway Street, for example. That's very traditional. Everybody does that, not terribly unique. You can also have residents go to sign up at nixle.com, or they can sign up at yourwebsite.org. Could be, for example, middletown.org or something like that. Again, very traditional. Everyone kind of does it, but the problem there is to get residents to go to a website, to fill out, create a profile, to fill out a form, is usually a significant barrier, especially if there's not an urgent situation on the horizon right in front of them. If they're just doing it to be proactive, it's difficult to get a resident to do that being proactive for some event that may or may not occur in the future. Also, integration through social media. You know, if Middletown or some other city, county has a website, you can get somebody to go to this Facebook page or Twitter and opt in to get alerts from their local municipality. But again, there you have the issue of your important public safety alert being sort of buried amongst a bunch of cat videos and pictures of newborn babies or what have you. It's not the most effective way to get the right message to the right person immediately. And this is where Nixle has some advanced options. We do have iPause. I won't touch on that right now, but we do have this capability, which I've touched on now a couple times, called text your zip code to 888-777. It takes just seconds to do, and you can see a little visual of that right here on an iPhone. You just take your zip code, whatever that is, and text it to 888-777. We also have a keyword functionality. Sometimes zip codes are very effective. Sometimes if you have a festival, a pumpkin festival, or a tree lighting ceremony, what have you, you don't want to necessarily blast the entire town with those kind of notifications, but you do want to make it so that the people that are interested in that particular topic can opt in, and therefore we can create a keyword to 888-777. And I'll talk about that here in the next slide. We also have integration with Google, so every time an important alert goes out through Nixle, whether it's a storm, wildfire, active shooter, what have you, Google is going to now take that alert and it's going to broadcast it across multiple Google channels, which is very powerful. When you talk about spreading your word, spreading that alert, that message to as many people as possible, it's extraordinarily effective to also be utilizing all that Google has to offer and getting that word out. So a little something more about keywords. Oh, I'm sorry. One more slide here. These are some of the partnerships that we have. Again, we have a Google partnership. We have an iPause partnership. So essentially, if anyone in the room has received an Amber Alert, that's what iPause is. The ability for the Middletown public safety officials to send out an Amber Alert when the situation is appropriate. You can do that right through Nixle. The iPause program is put on by FEMA, but you still need a tool to send out that notification, and Nixle is one of those tools. We have a National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, so every time you send out a notification about a child that's gone missing, our partners monitoring those alerts from Middletown as well as every other agency across the United States to see what's going on and how they can help. And then also NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, anytime NWS, which is National Weather Service, sends out an alert for a severe event, Nixle will take that alert and rebroadcast automatically. You guys don't need to do anything to all the residents of Middletown. So if there is a severe event, the police chief or whomever doesn't need to do anything. You can rest assured that the residents are going to get that weather notification. Talking a little bit more about the Google integration here, you can see, well, this was actually a live event that happened several months ago. It's something that we were able to screenshot for you. It was actually it was about a year ago. We had so much rain here in California a year ago that one of the dams started to spill over and started to damage the integrity of the dam. So the emergency manager of Sutter County got onto Nixle, pushed out a message, and because it was a high-level alert, Google grabbed that message and rebroadcasted it on multiple different Google tools, including Google Search. So you can see here what I did is I just typed in Sutter County into Google Search, and the very first search result I get is this evacuation order that you can see right here, bolded in red so that nobody's going to miss it. Also, if you were just to type in the word pizza or something into the browser and you happen to be located in Sutter County, you're going to get that same message. Again, when there's something important to go out, you want to make sure as many eyeballs are on that as possible. And Nixle is the only company that has this integration with Google. There's a lot of exclusive capabilities that Nixle has. This Google partnership is another one. When the message goes out via, there's a lot of different ways the message can go out. It can go out by text message, email, through a web post, through voice notifications, through push notifications. There's a lot of different ways that message can go out. But one of the more popular ways, especially these days when everyone is mobile, is through text messaging. So here's a little workflow that I wanted to walk everybody through. This is an individual that opted in with the area code 43105. And they got a automatic response telling them that they successfully logged into Nixle. A little bit of time later, Bridgetown PD sent out a notification for a missing child, needs your help, Johnny Madison, 8 years old, 3 feet 6 inches, last seen at Elm Park. And you can see there's a little link right here, and that link takes you to more information. And this is one of the beauties of Nixle is it gives you a short message so that all 10,000 residents can understand really quickly what's going on without being overwhelmed with data. And if that information is pertinent to them, they can click on that link. And that link will take them to a web page. And that web page will look like this. It'll show a map of where Elm Park is so they can get some orientation, who that public message is from, Bridgetown Police Department. Here's that original text message, the level of severity, the level of certainty, and the level of urgency. And here's where you could add a lot more detail as to what little Johnny Madison, where was he seen, what is his dimensions, so on and so forth, hair color, what he's wearing, and a picture of little Johnny Madison so people can get an idea of what they're looking for. When something goes wrong, or you're looking for a criminal, or you're looking for a missing child or an elderly individual, it's great that you have your 100 officers looking for those individuals, but it really helps when you have 10,000 residents keeping an eye out for that individual as well. And through this particular mechanism, they can get informed pretty quick. And we have tens of stories, if not hundreds of stories, where we have proven that getting the word out to residents quickly and efficiently with a lot of data will find individuals within minutes. Now here you can see actually the conversation continues. Whoever got this message replied with, "I see him." Okay, so now we're supporting what we call tipping or response. It's an ability for residents to communicate back to the agency to have that two-way conversation. Now, as soon as someone sends that word, "I see him," to the PD, that someone at the PD is going to respond, "What is your location? Is he with somebody?" And you got that two-way dialogue now, and the person responds with, "He's with the man by the Main Street General Store." So when you want to, you can get responses from residents in order to facilitate what the PD is trying to accomplish. So that represents text to opt-in. It represents web. This phone over here represents web messaging, our ability to support maps, our ability to support photos, and our ability to support tipping. Lots of different uses for keywords. I talked about keywords earlier. a keyword for a heavily visited area such as the DC Mall, Folk Festival, DC Jazz Festival, the inauguration of a president, a Super Bowl. There's lots of different keywords that could be used in different situations, and that's just an example of just a few. But now here's where, oh, I'm sorry, a couple more slides. Here's an example in the example of a 4th of July event where the police department used keywords and advertised it at the event center so that the individuals during the course of the day could be notified if there's anything going on for this 4th of July celebration in D.C. All they had to do was text July 4th DC to 888-777. This can be used for an emergency if little Johnny Madison goes missing again, or it could be used for, suspicious package, please evacuate the premises. It could be used for a lot of things. But it's important that as you have a group of people coming together, especially when it's a lot of people maybe outside of your jurisdiction, you want to have some direct communication with them to increase their level of enjoyment, but then also to keep them safe. Now, I kind of scrolled your website a little bit, and I saw that the city of Middletown has a tree lighting ceremony. So I thought we might use this as a little bit of a fun, interactive exercise. So if everybody can, please prepare yourself by pulling out your smartphone, and I'm going to have you join me in a little bit of an exercise. First thing I'd like you to do is text the keyword. I created a keyword for this. Text the keyword tree to 888-777. And Chief, I don't know if you're there, but if you could kind of give me a sort of a confirmation that people are comprehending and have appropriately accomplished this, I'd appreciate it.
Well,
Yes, Paul, we have some participants.
888-777?
Say it again, Chief. I can barely hear you.
People are participating.
Great.
Capital A.
Okay, now I'm going to change screens a little bit. I'm going to go to my live demonstration environment. So just bear with me for a minute.
Yours work? Yeah, it's working. You put on a thing, 888-777.
Not in your...
No.
what do you...
So as you see me go through these steps, I'm logging into a demo environment where you're going to actually be able to see Nixle in action from an agency perspective. I'm going to log into my account.
Just put 777. Now put tree.
Oops. Okay, so now we're inside of my demo environment. You can see I've relabeled my demo apartment as demo system as Middletown PD. Actually, let me get my cursor back. All right. Well, hopefully you guys can see my cursor. Middletown PD is how I've labeled my particular demo environment for this situation. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to craft a message here. I'm going to go to the message center. This is a single web page where the Middletown officials can launch a message. It's going to be an advisory message, and I'm going to, rather than having you guys watch me type, I'm just going to cut and paste something here. This is going to be the chief sending a message to all of his officers. Seeking volunteers to patrol November 24th Middletown tree lighting ceremony for overtime pay. I'm going to request for replies so that the officers can actually reply to this message. I'm going to scroll down here to, actually let me increase my screen a little bit so you guys can make sure you see this. And here's the different groups that I could send this message to. I'm going to go to private groups. These are private groups, meaning they're employees of the Middletown city. And I'm going to go to PD rank and file, all of the chief's different officers, because that's who I want to send this particular message to. And there's nothing else I need to complete. That's all I need to do. I'm going to write preview message. And you can see here is a kind of a mock-up of the message here on the phone. And I'm going to go ahead and send that message out. Okay? So I just sent that message out, and I'm going to ask my officers to go ahead. Those officers are actually, it's actually my team here, my employees. I'm going to ask them to reply with some messages, so we could see how those messages will come back, so that the chief can have a unified communication mechanism for his employees, or it could be the employees of Parks and Rec or Department of Public Works or what have you. So here we can see Lieutenant Jennifer Whidden has responded with over here, I can make it. So that's good. First come, first serve. So that lieutenant, gets the overtime, shift. And there's probably a few more messages coming in momentarily. So now that we have some officers that are available for that particular shift, you can see a few more have come. Lieutenant Jennifer is getting a little snarky there, a little bit humorous. How much are you going to pay? And then I got Lieutenant Lindsay Rogers also saying, sorry, I'm unavailable that date. So getting a nice RSS feed of all the different officers that are replying to the message. So now that we have our officers ready for the event, I'm going to go back to the message center. Or actually, you know what? I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to go back to the groups. And here I created a group called a tree lighting event. And that tree lighting event is characterized by the keyword tree. And currently I have 11 people in here. So let's take a look at those 11 groups. All of you folks over there in Middletown who have opted in, it seems like 10 of you have. One of them is me. So that's great. We got 10 people that have opted in with this keyword. You can see how easy it is, right? So now you can imagine if you're doing this with your residents, you're not making it a high barrier to entry. You're not making them go to any particular website and create an account with 10 different form fields. Just simply a text. But you know what? I'm going to add a few more people to this particular group. I actually want all my officers to be able to also receive information about this event as well. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to jump over and I'm going to get the list of all my officers here. I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go to import contacts to this group. I've already got 11. I want to add a few more. I'm just going to cut and paste this stream of digits and numbers in this particular dialog box here. I don't need to parse it. I don't need to, put the first name, last name into separate boxes. I'm just going to paste it right in there. I'm going to hit continue, and Nixle's going to parse everything out for me. I've got my full names over here. I got my phone numbers over here. I'm going to hit confirm. I'm going to confirm the policy. And now I've got 17 people total in this particular tree lighting event group. All right, so now I'm ready for my event. I'm going to go to the message center again, and I'm going to scroll, and I'm going to send out an alert, because once you have it, when you have it, another kid is gone missing. So I'm going to, again, paste the dialogue here. Just a moment. This is going to be my text message, SMS, text message. Help us find little Johnny Simpson. Last seen by Santa's sleigh. Click for description and/or. I'm going to request tips. I want people to actually reply to this message. And now I'm also going to have an email and web message that goes out with more information. So here's where I paste the additional information about Johnny Simpson. He's 4 feet, 2 inches, Caucasian, brown hair, brown eyes, wearing blue jeans and a black coat, last seen by Santa's sleigh. Please reply to text with tip, or call 911 or visit police booth behind the stage. And the subject of the email is going to be the exact same as the text message. So that's pretty much all I need to do to get this message out. Let's also attach a picture of little Johnny. Okay, I've attached a picture. I'm going to include an incident location, which is going to be 17 South Street in Middletown, New York. And an area code of 10940. I'm going to include contact information, who they should contact in case they want to reach out to that person directly. So I'll include my phone number here, my name and my contact information, as if I'm an officer with Middletown Police Department. If I wanted to do voice dialing, I could certainly do that here. If I wanted to send out an Amber Alert, I can do that here as well for this particular demonstration, I'll leave those out. Now, which group do I want to send this to? This time I want to send it to a public group. And the public group I want to send it to is the tree lighting event. Everyone who just opted into the keyword tree and everyone who I entered into that group manually. If there was a particular geographical filter I wanted to include for, let's say you had maybe a house fire or something like that, and you wanted to geo-target that message to a particular street, or maybe a neighborhood, or maybe just half of the town, this is where you would filter that notification to a specific geographical area. I can create my own area. I can do what we call point and radius. I could just zero in on a city or town or a particular zip code. But for this particular instance, I just want to do that one keyword of tree. I'm going to send this message out now, and I'm going to preview this message. It asks me to confirm the address. That looks right to me, so I'm going to apply that address. Here's the preview. Here, it looks, everything looks good. Got a little picture of Johnny over here. Looks good. I'm sending that message out. Everyone now, within the next 10, 15 seconds, should be receiving a text message. If you did receive a text message, feel free to reply with however you want about whether you have or have not seen Little Johnny Simpson. And I'll stay silent here for 10 seconds as everyone replies. Feel free to be humorous or serious or whatever you want. This is just a demonstration. Little Johnny's safe, I can guarantee you. So now I've flipped over to a new screen here. It's under tipping because I'm getting tips that have come in. The last message, or the only message I got for this particular instance was, oh, hold on a second. Seems like, okay, we got the genders mixed up, but you know what, that's A-okay. So someone here said, I found her. So I'm going to reply with, as being an officer, I'm going to say, great. Where are you? Provide me a landmark. And as an officer, I'm going to send that. It's going to go directly to that one individual now, nobody else. This is an anonymous tipster. We're not going to be tracking people's phone numbers. We don't care about phone numbers or people's identity. We just want information. Meantime, I'm going to go back to my tipping to see if there's anything else. Here I have somebody who's just entered a long stream of interesting digits, okay? But anyway, you can kind of get an idea as to how it works. I'm going to do something else now also. I'm going to show you my phone.
Paul, if I could interrupt you real quick.
Yes, sir.
Just for time purposes, there's another meeting scheduled for like 8 o'clock. So is it possible just to expedite through the remainder of the presentation?
Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty much done. I was just going to show you another one or two things on my phone here, another 45 seconds, and we can call it.
Good.
Of course, it'd be nice to if there's any Q&A, I could certainly answer that.
Yeah,
But here you
I have
can see
one
my.
question.
Is that okay with you, Chief? Does that work?
Yeah, we have a few minutes. Yes, thank you.
Great. So here everyone can see now my cell phone, and you can see the message that I got, help us find Little Johnny Simpson. I'm going to click on that hyperlink, just like we discussed earlier, and it's going to take me to a web page where I can get additional information about what Johnny looked like, information about where he was last seen, so on and so forth. This is everything we did in just the last few minutes. And that's it. That's one way in which Nixle works. It has a lot more functionality, but this is kind of just a little bit of an example that I want to show you guys in a limited amount of time today. There's one last thing I want to show you, which is if you can see in the lower right-hand corner of my phone here, you can see there's an icon called Everbridge. Everyone can download this at any time. And the Everbridge app basically shows you all the alerts that are going on in your area, whether or not the municipality is using Nixle or Everbridge. So I'm zooming in here on New York and New Jersey. I'm clicking search this area, and it shows me all the different notifications that are going in municipalities around your area. Here I'm zooming in on New Jersey, and you can see how many folks and how many agencies in New Jersey are using Nixle. We could click on one, for example, and see that Rockland Electric to begin underground electric electric rebuild on Chippewa Trail, yada, yada, yada. So this is a nice way also for getting notifications, not just for your area, but to see what's going on in the area around you. Everyone can download this app immediately. You don't need to create a profile if you don't want to. You can just go ahead and use it in an anonymous kind of way. And all you have to do is on your smartphone, just search for the word Everbridge in the store, whether it's the Apple Store or the Android Store. And folks, that's all I had for you. Any quick?
Yeah, I have a
any
quick question
questions
for
I
you.
can answer for you.
We do have a question.
Yeah, you mentioned during the, at the beginning of the process, bilingual. Do people that sign up, do they have an option? Is there a language choice that they can make on the, on a pull-down screen?
Yes, currently, well, as far as receiving text messages, email messages, there is a we have a Spanish translation at this particular time. English and Spanish are the two languages that Nixle supports at this particular time.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Paul.
We have no further questions, Paul.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you. Should I log off, Chief, or should I stay on?
You can log off. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
You too, thank you.